My goodness, self-mastery techniques, the evolution of change work. I tell you what, the amount of excitement that I have running through my body right now is very, very intense. This is something that not only have I been using for a very long time, but this is something that I have been creating and molding and crafting and really putting it into such a framework and such a structure where it is so easy and so simple to be able to, number one, learn, number two, actually able to put out into the practical world. With a lot of change work out there, it's all well and good in theory, but does it work? And if it works, that's absolutely amazing, but can you actually teach it to other people and then allow them to get the same results that you are? So obviously, for myself, I've been learning about a lot of different change work for a very long time now. And self-mastery techniques is it's a collage, it's a compilation. It is a molding of all sorts of different types of influence at the spiritual level, at the mental level, at the emotional level, and also at the physical level, crammed into one ball of awesomeness, crammed into one place where you can use multiple levels of teaching. I'm talking things from a practitioner level, master practitioner level, a trainer's level, a master trainer's level, so to speak, but all crammed into the one vicinity. Now, for me personally, I find that very, very empowering. Because one thing that I witnessed throughout my travels is a lot of people were going out and they were doing all these amazing trainings, but yet they weren't actually doing much with it because of the sheer fact of, number one, they didn't really know. Like, they sort of understood the process, but they didn't actually know it, and they didn't prove to themselves that they knew it. And I think that's the absolute key. There's so many people that I know that have all these tools. Like, they're so over educated, it's ridiculous, because they've got a million different tools, but yet they don't know how to use two or three of them really, really well. So over the next 6 days, we're going to dive into the process that I use personally to help people change the way that they think, feel, and act. And one of the biggest things that I want yourself to take on board straight away is you're not necessarily going to leave this training as a coach. Although that is an aspect of it, but it's such a tiny aspect of it. You're not necessarily going to leave this training as a mentor, although that is an aspect of it. You're not necessarily going to leave this training as a healer, although that is a massive aspect of it. My perception, my projection onto you guys as my little, proteges is to become teachers of wisdom, teachers of, self-mastery techniques. This is what I want to so-called label you guys as, like, your teachers of self-mastery techniques. So when you sit down with someone in a coaching environment, in a one-on-one environment, or you're in a group environment, whatever it might be, you're actually teaching them. You're not doing it to them. You're not necessarily doing it with them, although you are doing all those things simultaneously, but you're teaching them to do it. It's the ultimate self-empowerment. That's why it's literally called self-mastery, right? You want to be able to help the other person. No, you do it. Because if I do it for you, then guess what? You didn't do it. So a month down the track, 2 months down the track, 5 years down the track, you could be like, oh yeah, but that's because I went and saw that person and they did it. That's not necessarily true. The individual is the one that actually does the work. And when you get someone to change their own life, they experience it on every single level. And they think that they invented it. And the change that they get, number one, is very, very rapid. And number two, it's very long lasting. And this is the whole purpose and intention of this structure, of this, framework of tools and techniques to be able to really help people out, and just help people out for the sake of helping people out in a very simple and effective way. So that's what we're in for over the next 6 days. So obviously, welcome, congratulations on getting to this stage, because literally just getting to this stage, you think about how many things you've had to do just to get to this stage. You've had to block out time from your life. You've had to invest, time, money, energy. You've had to rearrange things. This is a big thing that a lot of people aren't doing within their day-to-day life. And I get it. Life is crazy. Especially over the last 2 months, right? It's like last year was, 2020, right? Shit, no one's going to forget that anytime soon. But the thing is like 2020 is really only just really starting to catch up with people now, because people are quite resilient. People are quite, they're pretty hardy. But the only thing is, now's the stage where people are really starting to get really starting to get exhausted, really starting to get tired of all this crazy shit that's going on. So there's never been a better time within, especially our lifetime, for people seeking help, for people seeking tools that they can use in order to change the way they think, feel, and act. And I've said this for a very long time. Sometimes they only need one thing. They only need one thing to be like, right, instead of going and doing that thing that I thought about doing, as in checking out of this world, I'm not going to do that anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to understand, holy shit, all this is happening, for me. This isn't happening to punish me. I'm not a bad person. I'm not here to just experience negativity and everything going wrong. But what I am here to do is I am here to take responsibility for the life that I'm creating. Now, when people get to this stage, because a lot of people haven't got to this stage yet, when people get to this stage, it sucks. Why does it suck? Well, it sucks because they realize that they've created a big old shit fight within their life. And that's not really a fun thing. But I tell you what, when people get to that stage and then you can help them pass that stage, they would have the exact same epiphany that I had when I was 18. If I've created all this life that I do not want to live, then all I have to do is the exact opposite, and I'll be able to create the life that I do want. And within that moment, I was like, oh my God, it's so clear, like a sudden awakening. It's like, if you've created all this thing everything that you want, you don't want, do the opposite. And that's what I started to do. And, it's worked out pretty good. Don't get me wrong. Oh my God, there's been times where I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing this shit anymore. But there's a very big difference between being exhausted and tired and giving up on yourself. So I want you to be that beacon of support, of hope, of motivation, inspiration, whatever it might be, for the people out there right now that have woken up this morning and they're suffering big time in whatever way, shape, or form that is. Could be in their business, could be in their relationships, could be as a mother or a father, as a caregiver. They could be a nurse, they could be a doctor. I don't know, they could be a mechanic, they could be anyone. But right now, that person has woken up this morning and there's things going on within their life that, number one, they don't know really how to deal with, or number two, they don't want to live with it at all. And here you are doing the work. Here you are taking time out of your life in order to acquire the skills, the framework, the technology, the whatever it is you want to call it, in order to be able to help them through that. And therefore, you get financially rewarded for that because this is your thing. What do? Well, I help people do blank, blank, and blank so they can blank, blank, and blank, whatever your thing is. Okay, so the whole congratulations side of things, I really mean that, because it's a pretty big deal. It's a very big deal. Taking time out of your life is very important, and not many people do it.